Salute, everyone. The streets are buzzing. How's everyone doing? Glad to be with you for another show. Welcome in. Salute to the chat. Salute Knicks Nation. And this off-season buzz continues. Got lots to talk about tonight. The NBA Cup games schedule has been revealed, and our New York Knicks have some dates we can pencil in. We'll talk about that. I want to get your thoughts on this in-season tournament. Right, what does it mean to you? Right, I'm going to give my thoughts in terms of that, but it's good to get some dates locked in. We've got 2 national games out of the 4 pool games against Milwaukee and Miami. So the NBA is going after those ratings, knows what's up with that. And I will talk about the FIBA warm-up games going on. RJ Barrett balling out. I want to get your thoughts again. More conversations happening over RJ's performance. You know, what does it mean? Again, the FIBA game's different. So I want to continue to talk about, you know, what RJ Barrett showcased so far. Jalen Brunson also. There's a, you know, talking point around him facilitating more as well. I'm rocking the RJ Barrett draft cap for this one tonight. And of course, league news as always. Man, James Harden, just when you think, you know, how can he trump what he's done in the past? But man, according to Ramona Shelburne, he's just getting started. So man, this is entertainment for Knicks fans alike. Of course, there's the talking point connection with Philly in the East and the New York Knicks. And of course, Joel Embiid, right? I don't care about Philly and I don't care about James Harden. A lot of us Knicks fans, we want to know what's up with Joel Embiid. What does this mean? What's going to happen? We'll talk about all of that and more. Salute everyone out here. Salute Replay Gang as well. Join the conversation if you missed the live stream. I know you're always supporting and are rocking out as well, right? On the streets are buzzing. Salute, that's a tap dirty. What's good? Yeah, I want the whole schedule. We better be getting a lot of national TV games. I feel like we will. Based on projections, based on ratings, I think, yeah, the league knows that the Knicks pull in the ratings. Best believe that. So I think, yeah, the Knicks are going to, you know, do well in that area. And yeah, kick-starting it, the pool games, man, in this NBA Cup. And then we'll talk about, you know, your thoughts on the NBA Cup and my thoughts as well. But yeah, the New York Knicks, November 3rd, will be at Milwaukee. That one's at ESPN. Then we're at Washington, November 17. That's a Friday. So they're Friday and Tuesday games. Looks like the Knicks have scored 3 Friday games out of the 4. 2 are away, 2 at MSG. So we're at Milwaukee. That's going to be a tough game. But to make up for that, we obviously get Miami at MSG. So we get the Miami game, which is a home game. That's great. And we're at Washington. We're at Charlotte. So I think you know, the Knicks should be heavy favorites, you know, to take those ones out. But yeah, the 2 toughest games we know in this group are going to be the Milwaukee-Miami. You know, and then the rest of the games are also on screen as well. Also note the NBA schedule, the full schedule is going to drop according to reports this Thursday. So we just got 2 more days to wait. And now we can lock in our dates and we're going to know what this season looks like. But for right now, yeah, we've got the New York Knicks balling out for Team USA, for Canada. We'll continue to talk about that. We'll talk about this NBA Cup. Salute. What's good? Replay Gang chat. Let's get it. Yeah, Milwaukee, we know, we talked about it last show. We locked them in at MSG on Christmas Day. And now we've also got Milwaukee, you know, early in the season at Milwaukee, which is the first pool game of this tournament as well. So we know that that's locked in. You can see the larger view on screen there. November 3rd at Milwaukee, at Washington, and then home against Miami, home against the Hornets. So that's all of November, the pool games. They count for the normal regular season games. They're not any additional games at all. They're just part of the regular schedule. Also, the top 2 teams from each group, we are in Group East B. The 2 top teams will make it through to the next round. The championship round, which is in December 7, and then December 9 is the championship there as well. We'll break down later tonight's show. We've got lots to talk about. We'll break down the wider NBA and we'll predict who's going to get through each group. But for right now, it's the New York Knicks. How are you guys feeling about that? Let's shout people out. Sincere, Knicks 1. Sherwin, what's good? Jamsey, what's good? What's good? Andrew, Old Head, Trini, HP. So, in terms of my thoughts straight up about this NBA Cup, right? It's going to take time. It really is. And I don't, blame anyone for not feeling any kind of way about this. The Larry O'Brien is what we're all about, what we're after. This is just a nice little addition, I feel. It's a gimmick right now. It's going to take time, right? It has no heart yet, has no soul. It's a very first, cup. It's a first tournament as well. It's knockout. What I like about knockout, though, it's exciting. And then the pool games are a part of the regular season. So that's the best thing about this. Even if you don't care about the prize, you don't care about the cup, at least they're just regular season games as well. And there's not too many extra games if you make it through to the knockout round. It's just straight to the point as well. I mean, most of us are football fans as well. We know the NBA been struggling with ratings, early in the season, November, December. Hot for the NFL. The buzz, the football is hot, and then less eyes on the league to start the season. We know playoffs that's what we're all hoping to thrive in as well. But the Knicks specifically have good matchups against the Heat, the Bucks to look out for. Hopefully we put the beat down on them, but I feel like we'll definitely put the beat down on the Washington Wizards and the Charlotte Hornets as well. So let's get it. That's my thoughts on that. It's going to take some time. It's going to take a few years. I feel like just like the play-in, a couple of times in, a couple of winners, and people will kind of warm up to it. We had some interesting quotes. Some people weigh in. Bobby Marks said the winner should automatically score a playoff berth. I think I've suggested that once before. That would be nice. Extra draft compensation as well. I'd love that too. So give us your thoughts as to whether or not we could tweak this and make it even better. Obviously, this is the first itineration of the NBA Cup. A lot of soccer fans would be used to this kind of format. Shout out your soccer team if you are a soccer fan as well. They've been doing this cup format, basically since the beginning of time. And I think Adam Silver even referenced soccer when he announced this. So we kind of know this is at the heart of, this cause for the league. But also it's about excitement. It's about adding in more competition. Much love, Carlos from Portugal. Salute. Streets worldwide. And I feel like, with the format in this sort of tournament, if I'm a player and I'm specifically just looking at it from a player's vantage point, it gives me another thing. Yes, it's not going to mean nowhere near as much as a Larry O'Brien, but as I said, let's think 3 years down the line, maybe 5 years down the line. There are 29 teams that don't win anything every year. And if you're playing, you're putting your heart and your soul into playing ball, and you can say you won something, you can take that away from the season, then that's just another award. So what else are your thoughts on it, everyone? Dirty says the problem is Fournier wants to play and there's almost no team that he would play. over their backup shooting guard in regards to the Evan Fournier situation. I've given up hope that there's a trade before the season, and I feel like he's not going to be a James Harden. He's going to come into camp, and I don't think we should make a deal unless it makes sense for the New York Knicks. And there's little deals that make sense. That's the crux of it all, man. The salary is tricky. I think I mentioned, someone in the chat mentioned in a previous show that what's holding the trade up, and I said the salary. I think if Evan Fournier was earning 11 mil, 13 mil, it would be easier to find that trade at this point. Joel Embiid needs to ask out now, wasting another year of his prime on that sinking ship. I think that's coming soon. I think it's leading to that. Joel Embiid updated his bio in Twitter and took Philadelphia location off of his bio. He knows what he's doing, right? I mean, who does that? I said it last show. I said there'll be some sort of subliminal, and what happened? We got a subliminal. That's all I'll say to that. We'll hit on the James Harden thing definitely tonight. And, what's it going to take? There's obviously a lot of teams with good packages, but we've got to wait for the dust to settle with this James Harden thing. In the Knicks group East B, do you think the New York Knicks can finish in the top 2? I want to hear your thoughts. Can we advance in this cup? Right. Tom Thibodeau, right, he doesn't even need a cup to want to focus on the regular season and scratch and claw every single dub. And so I don't think that the New York Knicks will have any lack of motivation. These are meaningful games still, and I think the New York Knicks will be fighting to win these games in advance. As I said, I think we'll beat Washington and Charlotte. We had the season series against the Heat, as we know. And I think we won the season series against Milwaukee, if I'm not mistaken, 3-1. So, I feel like the Knicks can finish in the top 2 and get through to the next knockout phase of this NBA Cup. The spotlight, the attention's going to be on if the New York Knicks advance in this tournament. Hell, there'll be some trolling. But, like I said, there were skeptics of the play-in, and most people are for the play-in now. It's added more excitement. It hasn't deterred tanking, which is what it tried to introduce. But, hey, like I said, if you're a player, you get an extra $500K if you win this tournament as well. For those wondering, if there's anything else at stake, the winning team gets $500K. I think the team that finishes runner-up gets $200K or something like that as well. So, hey, for the top-end players, that doesn't mean anything. But if you're a Deuce McBride, if you're a Quentin Grimes, Emmanuel Quickley, maybe on a rookie-scale contract, an extra $500,000 will go a long way to setting up some fam as well. Knicks 1 says, in-season tourney, the Knicks are eating. Yep. Salute. Yeah, salute. And like I said, we get the full NBA schedule this Thursday. We'll break that down. Best believe that. We'll go live straight away, and we'll talk about it. I predict our opening game will be against Cleveland or Miami. That's just a guess. I haven't heard anything. But I do know the NBA likes to pair up playoff battles as well to get the juices flowing early. But we do know now at least 2 of these regular season games are on national TV, ESPN, November 3rd and November 24. Bucks and Heat. 1 away and 1 at home as well. So we got Miami on ESPN as well as MSG as well. Not forgetting about the home network. I'm always watching MSG as well. If the choice is either, it's always MSG. Either MSG, and then there's MSG Plus now as well. You guys let me know if you're a part of the MSG Plus. Dirty says maybe you could get a buy from the play-in at least. It'd be interesting to see how they learn from the first iteration, whether they do anything else. Sincere agrees with the mid-season winner locking up a playoff spot or a play-in spot. Yeah, that'd be amazing. Imagine to know by the end of December, one team can already say, we're in the playoffs. Imagine what that's going to do. But it's risky then, I guess. They might start, resting everyone too much as well. I like the draft compensation, something completely unattached to a trophy or standings in that season. Just give the winner of that of this tournament the 16th pick, the first pick outside of the lottery. You'd have everyone going in crazy if it meant you get the 16th pick, right? You'd have scouts, focusing fully on the draft class as well. Even if they didn't have a draft pick, the fact that they might win the tournament and get the 16th pick, I think that would be something nice as well. Yeah, keep it coming. Trini says, I will use MSG Plus. Salute. Yep. Means you can obviously watch Knicks games on the go as well. Be on your grind and make sure you don't miss anything. That's good. I'm on League Pass as well, so I get the replays. I get live as well with no blackouts. Obviously, I'm not in New York as well. Dermot says, do you think Fournier's value goes up after the start of the season? I'm hoping it goes up before the season, but I don't think it's going to go up much. Like, when I say go up, the best thing we could probably hope for is that he plays well for France in FIBA, and France make the quarterfinals, the semi-finals, so, and then he has a couple of 20, 25, 30-point performances. That's going to show people around the league that he hasn't lost it. He's still Evan Fournier. He could shoot, he could play make some, and he can stay healthy. I think that's going to help, but it's still going to be a tricky trade, I feel. Just in terms of what would the New York Knicks hope to get out of it. Like, we're not getting back something that's a net positive for trading Evan Fournier. He's just not looked around the league as a positive kind of player right now. He's a player that could be looked at, best case scenario, as a rotation, spot minutes kind of role player that could come in and help a contender. But I think the best thing we could hope is probably like-for-like salary that's also expiring, and then maybe a second-round draft pick if we're lucky, I feel. Just to kind of get out of that headache, I feel. So, yeah, that's something that we wait. I think the organization is still focused on doing that. It's just a matter of time to see whether it can be done before the season begins. But I feel like it's still a priority. They still are trying to trade Fournier. Maybe the 16th pick is a bit hasty, but could be the 31st pick, the 30th pick, along those lines, along that track as well. Yeah, you agree with that as well? Yeah, let us know. Hey, let's face it, the ratings are going up, revenue's going up. Why not just increase the kitty? Increase the pot. Make it 1 mil per player on the winning team. Even if you're Nathan Knight, Jalen Martin, one of these players on a two-way spot, you're still eligible to earn the 1 milli pool prize. Imagine that. Those guys will go, hell for leather on that. Some teams might nurse their players through the regular season still as well, right? Just because it's the NBA Cup doesn't mean that there's not going to be load management still. If you're one of these top-heavy teams like the Heat, the Bucks, you're focused on the playoffs. You're not, even though they're regular season games, you're not necessarily thinking, man, we have to play these guys on this night, right? If there's any kind of little injury concern. I don't think it's going to change anything. I don't. But with that said, I feel like it's going to take a few years for anyone to really, get excited about it. Just like the play-in, there was like anything new. There's skeptics that they want to see it. They want to see it work in its full format, and they want to see it as a finished product, kind of thing. We'll continue to chop up RJ Barrett's performance as well. He was absolutely dynamite playing for Canada the other night, in his 31-point performance, 4 of 4 from deep. There we see him splashing it, which is great. Canada also play very soon. We'll talk about that coming up. And we've got the games here on screen for Canada and Team USA coming up. Just for anyone that's waiting to see when they can see these Nick heroes in action next, we got Team Canada. They'll play Spain, August 17, and the Dominican Republic, August 18. So that's great. Karl Anthony Towns, Al Horford, Chris Duarte, Jean Montero going to be in action for Dominican Republic. RJ Barrett playing well for Team Canada, putting the team on his back in OT. The Spain matchup's going to be good, so better competition, better than Germany. Let's see how he looks. Again, ready for a big season for RJ Barrett as well. I'm cautiously optimistic, and I'm just waiting to see. Really, I'm not coming in with any expectations. I've basically stripped all my expectations for quite a few Knicks. Your Brunsons, your Randalls, those guys, I got heavy expectations. Obviously, everyone else, I'm cautiously optimistic. But this is great. It's a great summer, great opportunity, great platform for these Knicks in FIBA, for RJ Barrett specifically, repping the draft night cap for RJ Barrett's draft class. Spain and Dominican Republic. August 18, we're going to see Jalen Brunson in action. Josh Hart against Greece. That one is at 12 p.m. Eastern. That's a noon game. FS1, you can catch it. 2 days later, August 20, the final warm-up game against Germany, also at 12 Eastern on Fox as well. So salute. Got fans watching these games for free. That's good. Good to catch this action. Looking forward to the World Cup. We'll be covering it, and I'll be watching closely to see our New York Knicks in action, right? We blink. We got 7 weeks until preseason, 7 weeks till camp, and the tournament goes all the way till September 10 as well. Imagine if it's a USA-Canada final, RJ Barrett going up against Josh Hart, Jalen Brunson. Just Knicks in the building, what's good? Mel Bester is in the house, salute. Killer Dogs, Jet Life, what's good? Yeah, RJ Barrett's highlights, right? He was getting to the cup, which wasn't a surprise. Does what he does. That's his strength, his bread and butter. He's going to improve on that. He's going to go stronger, harder to the cup. The handles is going to make that easier. But the catch and shoot, there we see efficiency. The finishing, a lot of people talk about, most people talk about with RJ Barrett always going left. See, a lot of these international players don't know RJ Barrett's scouting report as much as an NBA opponent is going to know RJ Barrett's scouting report. So, yeah, I salute any good performance. I'm still taking some of these performances with a grain of salt, just because I'm close to an old head right now. I'm 40 this year later, and I've been watching NBA ball for a long time. I want to see it in the regular season more. I want to see it in playoffs. That's what I care about the most. But it's encouraging. It's good competition still, but FIBA's a little different. It's the 3-point line is super close. I was in the building to see a game, 2 games, 2 days ago between Australia, Venezuela, and Brazil, South Sudan. It was great seeing some action up close in my city as well, and I noticed how close, man, the 3-point line is. The FIBA 3-point line is super close. It's a very, very short 3-point line, and I can expect we might see an uptick in some of these guys shooting. Remember FIBA Melo? FIBA Melo couldn't miss from the 3-point line. You don't realize how close it is until you're sitting in the arena. I was pretty close to the court, so let me tell you, the 3-point line's super close. It looks further away on TV because the camera's looking down and you see more space. But when you're sitting there near the court, the 3-point line is significantly closer than the NBA 3. But it is what it is. Let's see the 3-point shooting continue. Would be great. With that said, RJ Barrett's vision is something I'm looking at too. Assisting Jalen Brunson also. I'm not all about just getting buckets. We know RJ Barrett gets buckets. We know Jalen Brunson gets buckets. One thing that I hold in high regard in the FIBA game is team play. Yeah, team play. Getting your teammates involved, sharing the ball. What does Clyde always say? The ball moves faster than the man. Watch out for these teams like Spain, France, Slovenia, a lot of these teams that are internationally experienced. They move the ball. They're not top heavy. They've got to rely on passing. So that's something to look out for as well. I was also, obviously there for Australia, Venezuela. Australia won over 50 points, blew them away. But Josh Giddey was a standout. It was good to see, him in action in person. He's 6'8". He had almost a triple double, 14 points, 8 rebounds, 9 assists. So, he's going to be a menace in this tournament as well with his passing game. I agree, Trini. Want to see consistency in the regular season. Yeah. The NBA is the NBA. There's no league like it. There's no competition like it. Every dude that makes the NBA is there to kill, and that's what's the best thing about it. Especially the playoffs. RJ Barrett's getting more experienced. Played really well in the playoffs overall. I would rate the playoffs as a success for RJ. Given we got to hold everyone accountable. Julius Randle hasn't really shown up in the playoffs, yet RJ Barrett showed up quite a few times in big moments, big games. Unfortunately, not in Game 6, but he's still young as well. But we want to see it more, man. Yeah, we want to see it in the playoffs, in the regular season. Like I said, FIBA's super close. I don't know if it's exactly the same, but like our good friend Carlos is saying, it might be the WNBA 3-point line. I'm not familiar with the exact measurements, but most of us have been to NBA games, or games for that matter, in the gym, and seeing how small the court is when you're in the gym. That's the biggest thing that stood out to me when I went to my first NBA game. The court looks so big on TV when you're there. These mountains, these guys that are huge, they make the court look so small. But the 3-point line, super close for that. The Gasols are retired, fam, killer. Right now they've still got Rudy Fernandez, but they've got the Hernan Gomez brothers as well. They've got Santi Aldama from Memphis as well. I believe they've got Usman Garuba as well. Killer says Brunson should take RJ under his wing as far as handles wise. Yeah, I'm sure he's working on a lot of that, fan, with his skills trainer as well. Yeah, all of these guys have skills trainers, but man, Brunson is the best to learn from. Like you hit with that. You got one of the best in your own backyard with JB, so that's great. Great to see. Um, Dirty says the haters already forgot RJ was our second or third best player in the playoffs. Yeah, that's something that's 100% true. 100% true. And I talked about it in my last show about expectations on RJ. I feel like the people that are the most harsh on RJ are the ones that probably had the highest expectations. You know, like I said, this cap again, the day he was drafted, it was a lot of fans were like, this is the guy that's gonna be a stud from day one. He's gonna be a superstar and take this franchise to the very top. Um, and if that's been your expectation, it's been underwhelming, 100%. If those were your expectations, RJ Barrett has been underwhelming. If your expectations were RJ Barrett's going to be great in his career when he reaches his prime, then he's still on track. I feel he's still on track. He's still on track to be good, great. It just depends. Like, a progression's not necessarily linear. It's, you know, it's like life. You take the hits, you take the bumps, and you continue to improve every day. That's what's most important. Staying focused. Old head, what's good? This could be his breakout year. I really feel the best that I've ever felt heading into a season about RJ Barrett. A lot of it is because of the playoff performance. A lot of it is because of FIBA so far. A lot of it is because he's just reaching that age where it's kind of that breakout age. He's 2 years younger than Obi. He's younger than Frank Ntilikina. Hell, some guys drafted this past draft, I'm sure, were older than RJ as well. So he's played so much ball that people just think he's older than what he is. You know, and I know it's 5 years in the league. It's not just your age, but he came in the league at 19, quite young, close to Kevin Knox's age. Yeah, Kerry's all about it with RJ's breakout year. Yeah, this is big. I still don't feel like the Knicks are the best fit in terms of the personnel around RJ at this stage. But can he improve defensively, assist numbers, efficiency? Absolutely. Shooting, all of that. Yeah, Spain got Bo Cruz. Yeah, he's going to kill. He's going to kill. They're already lining up the storylines, fan, with Ant Edwards. Ant Edwards and Bo Cruz going head to head in the final, perhaps. Mel Bester, a quick question about the in-season tourney. The semi-finals and the finals are in Vegas. Do teams that are in those games have to take away a home game against that team during the season? I don't feel like that it is, because it's completely separate. Those games are completely separate from the regular season schedule. Only the pool games are a part of the in-season tournament as well. So yeah, but appreciate the question. Throw any more questions out here. We buzzing in this off season. We got the full season schedule in 2 more days as well. The noise about James Harden is just going to get louder and louder as well. As we get into it, James Harden is getting started and plans to make more things uncomfortable for Philly, per Ramona Shelburne. Someone said to me, this is just the beginning of what James Harden is going to do to make life very uncomfortable. Also, report Amico Hoop says Harden is open to other potential destinations outside of the Clippers. That holds up. I think that's true, because the longer this gets, Harden's not going to play ever again for Philly. And if it means he doesn't end up on the Clippers, but he ends up with the Heat, or he ends up somewhere, and Philly get a better deal, then I think that's going to happen. I don't want the New York Knicks to get involved at all. Maybe we could get involved in a 3-way trade, but not for James Harden. But we all know his preference is the Clips, but I feel like his second option will probably be the Heat. But would Philly do a deal with the Heat? That's tricky. Like we know, man, doing a trade in conference, I don't know. Yeah. Regarding RJ, Dirty says, if someone had told them RJ would average 20 a game on a team in the second round, they would have taken it. Yeah, even if you'd told someone, back then. Obviously, there's other factors, efficiency, net rating, defense, all of that. But I think, it's funny, I don't read into these lists, by the way, who's the most overrated player, all of that. That's just for clicks, all of that. What matters is the player, what matters is the team, that's all. RJ Barrett is a winning player on a winning team, helping a team win still. There's a debate about his ceiling, there's a debate about how good he can be, all of that. But there's no doubt that he's helping a team win still. And there's still significant uptick. He's helping a team win like the New York Knicks, but there's significant upside as well. Now, who's probably the closest players on this team that have close to peaked or reached their ceiling? I would say probably Julius Randle, but I wouldn't put RJ Barrett in that category. He's still got a more improvement. Mitchell Robinson might be a candidate for a player who has maybe close to reach their ceiling. Some people think it's Emmanuel Quickley. He's just that sixth man that's always going to be, a microwave off the bench. You could make that argument. I feel like Quickley still has a lot more upside, but I could understand people's role thinking. But RJ Barrett could ascend still. But he's got to do it. Like I said last show, excuses are kind of running out in terms of the shortcomings of his game. Right, 5th year. If he's not a better defender this year than last year, there'll be serious question marks over can he be a good defender. The efficiency, the tunnel vision, some of those things. But with James Harden and the East, this just bodes well for the New York Knicks all day, every day. All of this significant dysfunction, noise going on in our division, but in the conference, but not with us. That's fantastic. And I talked about people being underwhelmed with our off-season. Well, you could be underwhelmed, but we're running it back. It doesn't win the headlines. It doesn't look sexy. But the continuity factor, I think, is going to help the New York Knicks win 47 again, 48, 49 plus wins right now. And there's significant dysfunction and things in flux with Philly, even Boston now. Kristaps Porzingis, news today drops. He's out of the FIBA World Cup now with plantar fasciitis. KP out. So they've lost Marcus Smart, Grant Williams. Kristaps can't be healthy right now. What's that going to look like in 82? So the New York Knicks have got depth, continuity. We're coming for that top 3 seed in the East this season. Best believe that. And I feel like the New York Knicks are looking good. We wait. With the James Harden thing, we know Joel Embiid is a significant prize for Leon Rose. That's not going to change. And it's coming. I think it's coming soon. because they're not going to come out of this situation looking good, right? James Harden is already 34, past his prime, big salary, all of those things, right? Who's going to give them significant assets as well? Now with this back and forth, we can just sit back and watch and eat our popcorn for once, because it's not the New York Knicks, all of this. Yeah, in terms of any Knick that you feel like is a candidate to have peaked, in terms of reach their ceiling or close to have reached their ceiling, a candidate I would have would definitely be Randall, Mitch. I would probably exclude Quickly from that right now, and I don't think Brunson as well. Dirty agrees with Mitch and Randall, but Brunson, you feel like two probably. Yeah, Barrett did have a good game against NBA competition. That's something worth noting. Germany got some NBA guys, but nothing like what we're going to see with Spain and the Dominican Republic, which is good. Brunson's and Hart's going to face Greece with Team USA, and then Germany. So they've got more of the easier games coming up. But yeah, I'm going to be watching. They're on Fox. You can also catch the Canada games, I feel, on the Courtside app, the FIBA's app, which is Courtside 1891, in the App Store as well. So that's good. We can catch those. And we can continue to see RJ Barrett and our New York Knicks play in this off-season. And then, yeah, off-season news continues. We wait 2 more days to see how many national games the Knicks have, who's opening night, what does our road to the playoffs look like. That's something I always focus on. The last 2 runs to the playoffs have been fascinating TV. Obviously looking at the national games, but I couldn't care as much about the start of a season as opposed to the end, because that's going to be key. I want the New York Knicks to be aiming to get into the playoffs healthy this time, not trying to scratch and claw every last win, just to win 53 games. Like, it's not going to make any difference. 50, 53, 48, just get to the playoffs healthy. And then I feel like we have our best chance to move forward, and make noise. Old head quickly has shown major improvement in decision making. IQ, pun intended. Salute. Yeah. One thing I love about Quickly, probably the thing I love the most, is his confidence. Like, that kid just gets it. It reminds me of like a John Starks kind of confidence. Sometimes it's irrational confidence, but it's confidence. The Knicks haven't had many young players, especially drafted later, with that kind of confidence, bravado, where they can pull up from deep. I think it was his rookie year, he was shooting logo shots as well. I think that's what has got the fan base on Quickly's side in terms of the way he plays. He plays hard, plays with that confidence as well. And I feel like the game is just going to catch up to that. Remember how, and I'm not comparing comparing Quickly to this great. I know better than that. But if we look at the late great Kobe Bryant's rise into the league, right? He looked great in his rookie year, but he was still quite raw, and eventually his game caught up to his confidence. He came in with the confidence, but the game just kept ascending to reach that confidence as well. That's what you need in the league. If, like we've seen with Ben Simmons. Ben Simmons is elite talented, came into the league, number 1 overall pick. He looks like a shell of himself, not because of the ability, maybe health, but because of the confidence. He's lost all of his confidence in his game, has Ben Simmons, and now the guy's too afraid to shoot right under the rim. He's too afraid to lay it up. Sincere says on that peak candidates, Mitch has peaked. Randall has room for improvement, you feel, simply with his game and IQ, shot selection. That's a good point. That's a good point. I feel like skill set wise, Randall's probably peaked, but he can definitely improve with everything in terms of mental approach, game, IQ, shooting, selection. Yep. Milwaukee, Boston, Philly, Miami are all thin. Looking that way. Yeah, good point. Especially if they start slow, and I feel like I say, the New York Knicks are going to start well, and the pressure is going to be on. Every year there's a surprise, remember. There was a surprise that Toronto fell so much. There was a surprise last season that like Utah Jazz started so well. There were some teams in the East that started really well. And I feel like a surprise is going to be Indiana. Hell, Detroit might be more competitive than people think. Orlando is that other one as well, fam. Yeah, we know how important a run in the playoffs is. Injuries play a huge key. I feel like the New York Knicks would have been in the ECF if it weren't for that Game 1 where Julius Randle missed against the Heat. I think we had the soldiers. We were built to go further. Speaking of not going further, KP is withdrawn from FIBA. Frank Ntilikina as well. So Knick fans have at it. Frank Ntilikina, KP, both out due to injury, and I'm not trying to throw shade. You know, I don't wish injuries on anybody, but I laugh because it's just, that was the narrative. That was the narrative, the very narrative on those two players, that they could never stay healthy. You know, cup tournaments, NBA Cup, all of those things is going to be probably decided by injuries because it's early in the season. People haven't gelled yet. People haven't really found their rhythm. So that's going to be, look out for a possible upset with these situations coming in. The games are very early in the season. November, we know team surprise. Things look different. And all of that. We know how slow the Heat start. Jimmy Butler, he's all about the playoffs. He's not going to be all about this NBA Cup, $500,000. Right? Some of these players make more than that daily with endorsements, weekly, all of that. But the significance of it, as I said, is going to take a little bit of time. I think it's going to need an inaugural winner, maybe a surprise, and then more players will start to warm up to it. To the thought of being the NBA Cup champs. But as I said, the best thing about it is it's just regular season games before the knockout rounds commence. As I'll bring up those dates on screen. December 7 is the semis, and December 9 is the championship game. So that's super early for the semifinals and the championship game in Vegas as well. Yeah, that's going to be interesting. I want to know your thoughts towards the Knicks winning this thing. Like, we are going to push to win games, and the New York Knicks could well find themselves in the semis or the championship game. How would you feel if the New York Knicks were the first team to win this thing? Would you just feel like, okay, you're happy for the players, but you don't care? Would you feel pride? I tell you, it would probably mean that the Knicks are looking good for the regular season in terms of standings, right? If we've progressed through our pool and won this tournament, I would assume we're probably in a top 4 seed in the East. So that's something that's obviously great. Hopefully we're injury free. That's the most important thing for me. Again, the playoffs. I mean, for me, I would feel happy. I would feel pride, but I wouldn't feel any elation. I wouldn't feel any extra, excitement in terms of the big prize. We're all about that championship. It's just crazy. We haven't won a championship in 51 years, but imagine if we win this NBA Cup in the first year. There'll be a lot of trolling done. I best believe that. Yeah, this is the point I made before as well. If you're looking at it from the player's vantage point, that's something that they can be happy about. You play to win. Only 29 teams, only one team and 29 teams end up losing every year. So to have something else to play for is always good. The money's great for them as well, but the satisfaction to think that they won something, I guess, more attention on them. This is a league all about endorsements as well. Everyone loves a winner. So let's say if it helps the players get some endorsements, some extra spotlight, let's say, like a Cinderella story, kind of like the NCAA. Let's say if a team like Detroit was in the final against LA, most people that don't support LA hate LA. So maybe the nation will get behind Detroit if it's Detroit versus LA. Maybe another up-and-coming team like Indiana will make a name for themselves, call themselves the NBA Cup champs and get more spotlight, get more attention. Something to look out for as well. But we continue to move this off-season. We've got our guys in FIBA playing great ball. 2 big warm-ups to come before the FIBA World Cup commences on August 25th all the way till September 10. And we get the full NBA schedule in 2 more days. Yeah, thoughts on trading Marcus Smart? That was silly. That was dumb for Boston. Yeah, he was their heart. He was their soul. I know they got 2 first-round picks, but I think they're going to miss him a lot. Yep, they're going to miss him a lot. Yeah, 100% old head on IQ's D is a big part of his game. Really underrated. He's just going to get stronger as well in the league, as he grows and he continues to get in that weight room and build that strength. I feel like Emmanuel Quickley at this point, his biggest limitation is just his height. His confidence isn't limited. His game skill set's not too limited. His defense isn't limited. His body size isn't limited. It's just his height. If Emmanuel Quickley was 6'5", 6'6", with his defensive prowess, man, he'd be the wing. You'd be the 2 guard or the wing. So yeah, it's going to be very fascinating to see. In fact, I'll probably put it as a top 3 storyline heading into this season, above anything else, in terms of the other talking points. But Emmanuel Quickley's future with the team, because there are a lot of fans that want to see him start, a lot of fans that want to see him stay, play next to Brunson more, finish games out. And then there is a large part of the fan base that feels like he's the first trade candidate out the door when Joel Embiid asks out, or Spider, or someone else. We know how much the front office loves Emmanuel Quickley, especially William Wesley. But we don't really know how strong Leon Rose feels about him at this stage. I've got a feeling, obviously, Tom Thibodeau would love to have him around still. He's a big part of what we do. But if you are reading the tea leaves, we did sign DiVincenzo. We did sign Hart. So a lot of people are asking, okay, why did we sign those guys if Emmanuel Quickley's the guy? So, yeah, that's something to look out for. That's something to watch. Along with RJ Barrett's future and his progression. If RJ Barrett pops, that could change a lot of things. That could make Emmanuel Quickley more expendable, or vice versa. If Emmanuel Quickley takes a next leap or similar game, that might make them look towards RJ more as well. Yep, I do feel like it's a huge year for those two, and with Quentin Grimes, probably the three biggest Knicks that I'm watching the most closely to begin the season, pre-season, all of that, is Grimes, Barrett, and Quickley. Three young players with huge upside, but three players that could very well find themselves in a trade for the next big guy. Because we know Brunson, we know Randall are either difficult to move or not going to get moved, point blank. Yep. So, yeah, that's something to look out for. Who are the Knicks you're watching the closest to come into this season, and why? Let me know. I tell you, this New York Knicks rotation is so stacked right now. One would have to feel for Deuce McBride, Jericho Sims, two players who, they factored in quite a bit. Last regular season, gave us some minutes. Now, I can't see a world where they're getting any minutes unless it's situational, and we know with Tom Thibodeau, that situation rarely comes. Situational for Frank Ntilikina was come in on the final play of a playoff game and defend Trae Young. That for 30 seconds. That was situational for Tibbs. That's probably what Deuce McBride is going to be right now. Also, like Old Head alludes to, the pay structure is something that's a huge factor in all of this. Quickley's extension, I feel like it's going to come, but what does that do? That just adds to the salary load of this roster. It creates more thought for consolidation. But right now, the New York Knicks are on that trek to finish in the top four and make another run at it, I think, while the books ain't as bad, with Jalen Brunson on a dirt cheap contract, Julius Randle before his next extension, Mitchell Robinson on a dirt cheap contract, and all of those things. So that is something that's a timeline for this team. If you do really want to keep Emmanuel Quickley and hope that he stays, it's more than likely going to mean someone else has to go, because, as I said, Jalen Brunson's going to have to earn $300 million eventually for his next contract, I'm assuming. And what happens with Julius Randle's extension as well, when he's ready for his next extension. Quentin Grimes before that is another big one to note. We can afford to keep Quickley and pay him, definitely. We'll just simply be going heavy into the tax. Which, I would feel James Dolan would still be open to, to paying a huge tax bill. We haven't seen anything to suggest otherwise, but the New York Knicks would need to be winning by then. I feel like there's no justification usually for a front office to be paying so much unless the team is like in contention and going for it, I feel. With Christian Woods, fam, killer, there's no updates at this stage. Simply, man, I feel for him and the rest of the free agents because Dame and Harden are holding things up right now as well. But yeah, there's a lot to happen still, a lot of dominoes still to fall. There's the PJ Washington one as well. And there's situations where other guys are waiting. A guy like Miles Bridges was retained on the qualifying offer, I think. So his long-term future is not decided as well, is Miles Bridges. So it's going to be a very, very fascinating season and rest of the off-season coming up, leading in. But yeah, I can't wait for this schedule to drop in 2 more days. We got some of these dates we can lock in the November-December period. We got Christmas Day. Look out for the New York Knicks. I'm gonna guess we'll probably be around 15 to 20 national games, I'm gonna say. I won't be surprised if 20 of our 82 games are national. A quarter of the games national. I'm gonna go there and say that. The New York Knicks, they know, are built to win now. The NBA knows we're going to push heavy as well. We can count them already. We got Christmas Day, we got the Milwaukee, and we got the Miami ones. We already got 3 national games that we know of right now. And I'm going to say we end up with 15 to 20. But yeah, we're ready. We're ready to go for it. Especially in the East, right? I got the New York Knicks in 3rd. Philly, they're discombobulating right now. They made a risky trade. Well, they were stuck with Simmons. They were forced to do something. And they thought, let's get in another all-star, James Harden. They thought they made the best of that worst situation. But it's come back to bite. Now, James Harden called Daryl Morey a liar. We wait for the facts to come out. We may never know. We may know soon. But we know Harden's a maestro. I called him a maestro at getting his situation, getting his way, finding his way out of a situation. So there's could be the truth in there in terms of Morey promising a bigger salary. Promised maybe to take care of him and didn't. Maybe there was some incentives for Harden to hit in the playoffs that he didn't. Maybe Morey was intending to re-up him, max him, on the provision Harden reached some incentives and didn't. We don't know. There's 2 sides to every story. The truth is somewhere in between usually, but with this situation, I'm looking out for Joel Embiid and Philadelphia because there's a lot of distractions. Their play was quite suspect in the playoffs. The health factor is creeping in with Embiid playing 82. It's at the point where Embiid's best chance to succeed is on a team with depth. Won the MVP. Was deserving. Obviously, the Joker was still deserving as well, but he won the MVP. But I don't think Embiid can continue to carry a team through the regular season. It's just going to be tough for him to do that, and it's going to be a situation where he's got to be on a team with other stars to carry him throughout the regular season too. Otherwise, those knees are just going to be crickety, creaky in the playoffs again. It was never a great pairing with James Harden anyways, because he's a guy who has his own concerns with his age and his play. Yep. Yeah, 100%. We've got the eyes on the extensions coming up, with Sincere saying Randall and Brunson's extension will come up in 2 years. Grimes is next year. So it's basically musical chairs. If they don't want to pay so much tax, someone's got to go at the end of the day, in consolidation. But, we got to go for it. Every year, the Larry O'Brien is up for grabs. The New York Knicks have some of the most depth we've ever had in a long, long time. And we're ready. We're ready. I think even if we don't make a big trade, Tom Thibodeau will face the regular season with the intention of getting the higher seed and then going for it in the playoffs again. So let's see. But the in-season tournament cup is announced. We got the games. We look forward to the rest of the schedule dropping in 2 more days as well. We'll be on live to break it down as well. More FIBA action, as I said, with RJ Barrett, Jalen Brunson doing their thing for Canada and USA. And I look forward to talking about that more, with more highlights we can talk about. Hopefully another 31-point performance from Barrett, 35-point performance against Spain would have the streets buzzing against the Dominican Republic. And we know Team USA is probably going to put the beat down on Greece and Germany, but JB getting great accolades, great spotlight on that, on his play, right? Getting the due, much deserved credit for his game. People calling him a star now, a superstar. New York Knicks fans had the front row seat to Brunson's surgence last season, and it's going to continue. But yeah, Knicks Nation, peace everyone. Salute, salute, salute. We'll catch you in probably a couple days. We'll be back Thursday after the schedule drops as well, and to break down these games, these more FIBA warm-up exhibitions. But yeah, stay buzzed in, and we'll catch you soon. Peace.